You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a duplex fire in Carl Junction leaves residents without a place to live.
And our very own Amber Jenkins takes us to MSSU to show how art and medicine go hand in hand.
And even though it's a chilly start to the day, we have got warmer weather coming our direction and some sunny skies, plus some rain chances. We're going to talk about all of that coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Pittsburgh police are looking for answers in the investigation of a Thursday night shooting. It happened in the area of Pittsburgh's Sonic Drive-In on the 100 block of West 23rd. Police found a 32-year-old man with a non-life-threatening gunshot wound to an extremity. He was listed in stable condition at last report, and police say they found a possible person of interest in the case, but the victim was uncooperative. Fire crews battle a duplex fire in Carl Junction, Missouri. The duplex is on Southgate Circle on the south edge in the Briarbrook neighborhood. No one was inside. Passers-by were able to get animals out of the duplexes. The homes are considered a total loss. The Red Cross has been contacted to assist the families displaced. One firefighter was injured and treated at the scene. Well, Thanksgiving is this week, and some people will be traveling during the holiday weekend. AAA expects nearly 55 million Americans to travel this week. Joplin Airport's arriving and departing flights are mostly full. They continue to be for Thanksgiving as well. And the airport manager expects people flying in to come home and see their families for the holiday. And when it comes to driving, travelers are dealing with higher gas prices. Local resident visits his friend by plane this week before Thanksgiving, but is staying home for the actual holiday as his family is driving to him to celebrate.
Realistically, this is what gas was just 2-3 years ago. It was nice getting to enjoy a year or two of real cheap gas, but I mean, 'cause I remember spending like $100 to fill my truck up just 2-3 years ago when gas really got high.
According to AAA, 4.5 million people are expected to travel by plane this Thanksgiving. Another 49 million people will travel by car. Webb City's Veterans of Foreign Wars is hosting a Thanksgiving dinner for the community. Anyone in Webb City or surrounding areas is able to stop by for a free Thanksgiving dinner. This dinner is possible because of bingo donations.
Bingo, and so then we try to give back to the community, and this is one of the ways that we give back.
Webb City's VFW also hosts bingo game events to raise money to give the community events like Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas baskets, and more. Well, a local university is showcasing how the world of medicine is influenced by art. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Missouri Southern State University is hosting its first Artful Medicine Symposium, showcasing how art is influenced by medicine and vice versa.
Artful Medicine Symposium is touching on how art and medicine are useful when it comes to healing and healing processes, and then also what we do here in the art department is we look at visual training strategies, or VTS.
Visual Training Strategies, or VTS, is often used in medical humanities courses for students to improve observational skills and empathy.
I think anytime that we have projects or workshops or symposiums or seminars where it's interdisciplinary and we're involving multiple disciplines, I think that it's beneficial because it gets us out of our comfort zone and shows ways that we can, work together to address whether it's art, medicine, or just other issues. So.
The symposium teaches participants the connections between art, medicine, biology, and more.
Well, the arts and sciences go hand in hand with a lot of artists who are driven with the anatomical approach to art, and then some of the more science-based creative people who have shown today, they're doing more artistic approaches, so we're kind of feeding into each other's qualities.
Whitney is proud to showcase his art connecting creativity to medicine.
It is a little bit of an art therapy to be able to have this outlet, and presenting today has been wonderful because as an artist you rarely get the chance to talk about your work with people. It's shown on a wall and people look at it and move on.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
The art department is planning on doing another symposium very soon.
All right, look at this day in weather history. And on this date back in 1992, an F4 tornado made a 128-mile track across Mississippi, striking the cities of Florence and Brandon. In Rankin County, there were 10 fatalities and 98 injuries, most of those in the community of Brandon. Now, thankfully, we have nothing like that in our forecast. We have this beautiful sunrise, though, at 7th and Rangeline. 35 in Joplin. Feels like 27 degrees right now. It's a cold start to the day for us. 32 Neodesha, Chanute, Yates Center. 26 Chatopa, Miami, and 30 in Neosho. With a light breeze, it feels like 21 Yates Center, 23 Chanute, 23 Miami, and feels like 25 in Neosho. And even though it's cold this morning, we're almost 20 degrees warmer now than what we were 24 hours ago as our warming trend continues, and it will continue to do so. We'll have sunny skies, a high of 53 today. We'll drop back down to a low of 34 tonight under clear skies. And a quick look at the 7-day forecast. Warming trend continues, as we mentioned. 55 tomorrow, 58 Wednesday. Clouds build in. We don't cool we don't cool off a lot heading into Wednesday night. And then Thanksgiving and Black Friday, 51 both days, rain chances both days. So do be aware of that regardless of whatever kind of traveling you may be doing. There could be some rain and some slick spots. And that clears out by the weekend back into the mid-50s with some sunshine. And remember, these some of these overnight lows here are warmer than what our highs were last week as we get closer to our average temperature for this time of year.
All right, well, you know, I'm so glad that we're back to normal. Like,
Oh,
we needed this.
I think
it got
everybody
too cold
is at this
last
point.
weekend.
It
too cold.
did. Way too cold.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Well, up next, a new treatment for type 1 diabetes is approved.
And later, we learn the story behind a viral video that reunites a chimp with her baby. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
In Health Watch this morning, big news in the fight against type 1 diabetes. A new therapy to delay the onset of the disease is approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Mandy Gaither has more on the therapy and how it may help patients.
It's being called an historic moment for those suffering from type 1 diabetes. The first ever therapy to delay the disease is now FDA approved for patients.
We've never had any treatment to do that, despite testing many different things that have all not worked.
Type 1 diabetes is a genetic disease where a person's pancreas doesn't make insulin or won't make enough. The new monoclonal antibody will be marketed under the brand name Zealed. It comes in a single 14-day dose of infusions that each last 30 to 60 minutes.
On average, the delay of development of type 1 was 2 years, but there were those that went longer than that. And as we get more and more data, this may prevent the development even longer than 2 years, which is really exciting.
The therapy is thought to work by turning down the body's misdirected attack on its own insulin-producing cells. Protecting those cells may buy patients more time before they become dependent on insulin to manage their condition.
Imagine, a 9-year-old kid with diabetes that has to have their finger pricked multiple times a day and receive multiple insulin injections. Sometimes their parents chasing them around to do this. And now think of not having to do that for 2 whole years.
And this therapy is thought to be just the beginning in the fight against type 1 diabetes.
Well, the most common side effects reported in the trial participants were low white blood cells and lymph cells, rash, and headache. The drug company has launched a program called Compass to help families navigate financial challenges in accessing the drug.
We've got a very nice day for us today. Lots of sunshine, 53 for the high. As we go into tonight, we'll have a clear sky and 34 for our overnight low. And if you're doing any holiday flying this week, we'll be showing you this map. So far, the good news is we're not looking at any significant weather-related delays at any of the major airports across the country. So that's some good news there. And then our 7-day forecast, warming trend continues. 55 tomorrow, 58 by Wednesday. Clouds begin building in. And then 51 on Thanksgiving and Black Friday with rain chances both days. So whatever you may be doing either of these days, be aware that you could run into some rain showers and you could, of course, run into some slick spots due to the rain. But once the rain clears out by this coming weekend, we start to see sunshine return. Temperatures get back into the mid-50s. And so we're back to normal for this time of year. Because remember, These overnight lows are warmer than what our highs were last week, so average temperatures on the return. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this. Well, fans of Pokemon spent the weekend trying to catch them all as a pair of brand new Pokemon games are out today. Rick Damigella reports.
Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet are the newest entries in the long-running game series. The dual titles are expanding the way players experience the adventure.
Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet are set in a region called Paldea. This is a sprawling open area that is bursting with lush nature and magnificent landscapes. And it's also, the first open world RPG in the entire Pokemon series. Because of the open world nature of the game, it means that for the first time, players are kind of free to choose their path through the wide open world and kind of adventure at their own pace.
The games are designed to be welcoming to experienced and new players.
There are players who strictly are interested in battling Pokemon. There are players who strictly are interested in collecting Pokemon and filling out that Pokedex. And there's players who are really just focused on finishing the story. So there's lots of different ways to approach a Pokemon game, but the most important thing is that it is a big immersive world where you can go and adventure and enjoy the world of Pokemon and find some really incredibly fun and cute creatures to collect along the way.
Leveling up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Always something new in the Pokeverse. And we've got some new stuff happening this week as we continue to warm up and get closer to normal. Right now, 7th and Range Line, clear skies, looking good. 35, feels like 27 though. We could see some gusty winds later today. Still kind of cold across the area. 32 Neodesha, Chanute, 29 Parsons, 26 Miami, 31 in Lamar. You factor in the wind, feels like 24 in Lamar, 23 in Miami, and 29 in Parsons. And despite how cold it is this morning, just a quick reminder, we are upwards of 20 degrees warmer now than what we were 24 hours ago, and that will continue this week. 53 degrees is our expected high today with more than enough sunshine for everybody, and we'll stay clear heading into tonight as we drop back down to 34 degrees. And if you're doing any holiday traveling by air, so far, no significant weather delays at any of the major airports across the country, so that is definitely a good thing. But a quick reminder that this map only shows weather-related delays at the airports. It does not focus on specific flights, so you'll still want to check on that. 7-day forecast, we continue to warm up. 55 tomorrow, 58 on Wednesday. Clouds begin to increase. We only get down to 51 Wednesday evening, and then that's our high Thursday on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving and Black Friday, both days 51, both days some rain chances, so be aware if you're doing any kind of traveling or anything like that on Thanksgiving or Black Friday that there could be some showers and there could be some slick spots. Once we get through this, if you're heading back home this weekend, perfect conditions to do that. As we start to clear out, the sun returns, temperatures get back into the mid-50s, and our overnight lows and highs, of course, getting back to where they should be for this time of year. And we've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
It's time to honor today's four-state hero, Private First Class George Wilson Jr. The Gas, Kansas native served from 1950 to 1951 as part of the 5th Cavalry Regiment Medical Company to Private First Class George Wilson Jr., recipient of the Purple Heart. We thank you, today's four-state hero.
Well, maybe you've seen the viral video of the emotional reunion of a mother chimp and her newborn baby.
Katie Toppy reports on the incredible and dramatic story behind that reunion that happened in Wichita, Kansas.
You never get to see animals behave like that, and to see that human, that intuition kind of take hold. So once I saw that, I think we all knew that that was a gem that we caught on video.
It's a reunion that's gone viral, viewed more than 10 million times on social media platforms. proof that a mother's instinct goes beyond one species. This emotional ending had a stressful beginning. Knowing Mom Mahale was in labor, Sedgwick County zookeepers noticed her labor stop progressing.
Most of the time it's natural. Our 2 gorilla juveniles, they had natural births. That's what we hope for. That's our goal, but sometimes, just like humans, there needs to be surgical intervention.
The OBGYN on standby was called in to perform an emergency C-section to save baby Kucheza.
It allows us to focus basically on mom and the anesthesia of mom and then baby.
After birth, Kucheza struggled breathing and needed oxygen for about 48 hours. Zoo medical staff say normally that recovery would take days, but Kucheza responded immediately, leading back to this video and the reunion of mom and baby.
This is a huge feel good. It's a win. It's teamwork, everything coming together.
Oh, that mama was so happy to see her baby.
Yes. Mama and baby will get a couple of weeks to fully recover from surgery before being reintroduced to their larger family.
Oh.
That was adorable. And it is, love is love across all spectrums.
Yeah, it's just so sweet. And it was great. That mother knew that was her baby.
She was so happy to see her baby again. So
sweet.
I understand that completely. I think we all do. We all understand that. We've got a lot warmer weather for us as we start to head through the week. Right now at 7th and Range Line, we've got clear skies, looking pretty good. Even though it's a bit on the cold side, 35 in Joplin, feels like 27. It is a little bit cold across the region as well. 32 Pittsburgh, 31 Lamar, and 29 in Carthage. And with that light breeze out there, you can see factor that in. Feels like 26 Pittsburgh, 23 Lamar, 25 Carthage. As you can see, we're feeling kind of chilly this morning. And despite how cold it feels, we're almost 20 degrees warmer now than what we were 24 hours ago. And we're going to see more than enough sunshine for today with a high of 53 degrees. So beautiful weather out there. And if that's not warm enough for you, I've got good news. We're going to be clear tonight, dropping back down to a low of 34 degrees. And if you're flying for your holiday week, the good news is, again, so far, we have not seen any significant weather-related delays across the nation at major airports. So that's some good news there. But of course, make sure you check on your specific flight. As we head into tomorrow, 55 degrees. Still not warm enough? Okay, well, we'll give you 58 on Wednesday under mostly cloudy skies. And we only cool down to 51 Wednesday night with the cloud cover, but we also stay in the lower 50s, upper 40s on Thanksgiving, and same on Black Friday as we see some rain showers building in across the area. So be aware, whatever you're doing on Thanksgiving or Black Friday, there's going to be some rain, maybe some slick spots. And if you're heading back home this weekend, it's going to be gorgeous. We're looking at the mid-50s as the sunshine returns. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
State's most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:27. 2 vehicles struck a pedestrian on Joplin's Range Line. Accident happened about 5:30 Saturday evening. Authorities say the pedestrian, an adult male, was struck in the southbound lanes on Range Line just south of 7th Street. The first vehicle struck the man and threw him into the air. Then the second vehicle ran him over. Authorities say the pedestrian was not in the crosswalk. Met's ambulance rushed the man, Priority 1, to an area hospital. His condition is still unknown. The drivers were not cited and there were no arrests. You can continue to follow the story as it develops on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, Cherokee County Police want your help in solving a burglary. Sheriff David Groves of Cherokee County released images and video of 2 men wanted in relation to residential burglaries in the county. In security video, you see 2 men enter a door in the dark. Now, one man quickly disables the camera and the video clip ends. Suspects may be in a stolen 2021 red Toyota Venza. You can call the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office at 620-429-3992 for any information you may have. A federal grand jury indicts a Galena, Kansas man for a weapons crime following a high-speed chase in Newton County, Missouri. Douglas Alexis is charged with being a felon in possession of a firearm. Alexis was riding a motorcycle on Highway 166 in Cherokee County back on October 9th when a deputy tried to stop him for running a stop sign. He led officers on a chase that ended with a crash in Newton County, Missouri. Authorities say they had to tase him multiple times to keep him from reaching into a pocket where he carried a pistol. Alexis was charged as an armed career criminal due to previous felony convictions. Well, Thanksgiving is this week, and some people will hit the roads and skies over the holiday weekend. KOAM's Yana Hatula had a talk with Joplin Regional Airport's manager about some residents about how the holiday traffic looks.
Traveling for Thanksgiving has started for some four-state residents. They chose to celebrate early and avoid traffic jams.
I'm actually headed out this week on a little bit of an early Thanksgiving to hang out with my mom and brothers and sisters out there and have a little cabin in Utah that they're renting and going to have a good time.
Joplin Regional Airport Manager Part Starkey says flights arriving and departing from Joplin are all mostly full, and that's how they want to keep it. However, they are seeing some staffing challenges.
Right now, we're filling our flights, and we will continue to because it's not an economic problem, but we just face the issue with the airlines trying to fill flight crews. So that's a problem that we're facing, and it's a problem across the country.
Starkey says even though the airport is small and going through security does not take long, passengers should still be at the airport early.
We have a very early flight that leaves at 6, and so sometimes people cut it close and get here late, and then the gate's already, they've already closed the door.
Even though flight ticket prices are higher than during COVID, it does not stop Nielsen from traveling for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, I've heard, is the busiest day of the year to travel, and so the less you can do it that day, the better, I think.
According to AAA, 4.5 million people are expected to travel by plane this Thanksgiving. Another 49 million will travel by car. Well, this morning we're discussing birthdays.
Inside of a senior living community in North Carolina lives a woman who turned 105 years old. And while she's popular around the community, she also became somewhat of a celebrity while she celebrated her birthday.
She not only was celebrated locally, she was celebrated internationally as well, and she received at least 1,200 cards wishing her a very happy birthday. Coolest part is there was at least one from every state.
It wasn't the party, the dedication from the mayor, or even the pony that made her happiest. It was her close friends that made the day the most special. And that brings us to our question for you. Do you enjoy celebrating your birthday? So far, 38% of you say yes, 62% of you say no. We talked about this earlier. You know, I'm starting to settle into how my dad was as he got older. He'd celebrate his birthday if the family did it, but he didn't make a big deal out of it. You know, it wasn't like you spend every day for a month leading up to your birthday reminding your friends by, hey, my birthday's coming up.
Very true.
So, and that's where I am. So I guess, I mean, I enjoy it when the family does. It's a tough one for me to answer that because I enjoy it if the family does it, but if it's just me alone, I'm not making a big deal out of it. You know, I may post, be like, hey, I'm older today.
That reminds me, I probably need to give my dad a call. I might have missed his birthday last week.
That's not a good thing to do. Not a good thing to do at all. So, but yeah, so just make sure you vote through our website or the app, and of course take part in discussion on our Facebook page, as like the discussion that we just had. So there's a lot of different things that go into birthdays.
His birthday was Friday.
Yeah, you need to make that call. Why don't you take time and go make that call?
November has been flying by.
It certainly has.
Sure.
It's almost Thanksgiving. And we still, but the weird part is, and this is what kind of threw me off about Thanksgiving being this week, is we still have a couple of days of November next week before we officially get into December. And, you know, Thanksgiving's kind of the last hurrah of November, but a little bit odd on the calendar this year, but that's all right. And it also means we're that much closer to Christmas, which means it's almost 2023.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the future. The future, man. The future is here. So I'll let you go call your dad, and
he would be upset if I called him this early. I'm sure he's still sleeping.
All right. Just make sure you don't forget today, okay? You got to get on that.
Remind me in about an hour.
I'll forget in about an hour. You can ask my wife. I won't remember. I don't remember 10 minutes ago. Just saying. Okay, so here's something that we all can remember is warmer weather is on the way. We're cold to start today. We are 35 degrees. Feels like 27, but we got clear skies out there. It's cold across the region. We got 30 Iola, 33 Fort Scott and Nevada, 31 Lamar, and 26 in Miami. And you factor in the light breeze that we've got, feels like 21 Yates Center, Iola, Fort Scott, 23 in Nevada and Lamar, and feels like 24 in Miami. And even though it's cold this morning, we are upwards of almost 20 degrees warmer now than we were 24 hours ago. So our temperatures will continue to warm. We'll have plentiful sunshine, 53 degrees for an afternoon high, and if that's not not warm enough for you, I'll try and do a little bit better on the 7-day. 34 tonight under mostly clear skies. If you're traveling, good news is so far, and I always make sure that we haven't missed an update, but we haven't seen any major weather-related delays at any of the major airports across the country. So that's a good thing so far, but remember to check specifically on your specific flight, because that map only covers weather-related delays at the airports, not specific flight delays. All right, so 53 is not good enough for you. How about 55? Still not doing enough? Okay. We'll bump it up to 58 on Wednesday. How's that for the end of November, last full week of November? However, we see clouds starting to build in on Wednesday, and we only get down to 51 Wednesday evening. And by Thursday, we're hovering in the low 50s, upper 40s on Thanksgiving and Black Friday as we see rain chances both days. So if you're traveling either of these days, whether it's locally or regionally or even nationally, be aware, at least here, you could run into some rain showers and some slick spots out there. If you're heading back home after the holiday, into the weekend, it's looking a lot better as the sun returns and temperatures get back into the mid-50s. And remember, last week, these overnight lows are warmer than where our highs were last week. So we're getting a lot closer to where we should be for this time of year. Got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this. Soccer's World Cup kicks off to a poor start for host Qatar as Ecuador left the home team reeling with their performance, beating them 2-0. Amanda Davies has more.
The Qatar 2022 World Cup is officially underway after a spectacular opening ceremony that confirmed there's definitely no energy crisis in these parts. A brilliant show of lights and lasers. Morgan Freeman brought the star power and a message of unity, respect and hope. But as soon as the football started, that hope was pretty quickly crushed for the hosts. It's fair to say 13 is Qatar's unlucky number after Ecuador's number 13, Enner Valencia, did the damage. The veteran player in his third World Cup, scoring the goals that made the difference, so much so that many of the home fans didn't bother coming back for the second half. It was definitely a different atmosphere to what you'd expect at a World Cup opener. A pretty large contingent of travelling Ecuadorians did bring their usual vivid yellow chorus and were backed up, opposed by a vocal, well-organised group of Qatari fans singing their songs, dancing through their moves, much like we'd seen them practicing when we were here for a game in April. But that was in stark contrast to the majority of home fans watching on in a somewhat more stoic, moderated fashion. They did all get to watch a moment of history, Qatar's first ever match at a World Cup finals, hearing their anthem played for a first time on this stage. But sadly, they didn't get the results or the performance they were looking for. If FIFA want people to focus on the football, you have to say, you hope the performances get better than that. One match down, 63 to go.
The U.S. kicks off their campaign today at 1 against Wales in group play. The Fox Sports family of networks has coverage of every game of this year's World Cup. We have a chilly start for us today, but it is going to get warmer. We're going to break down your full forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. All right, so as we take a look at 7th and Range line, once the weather computer catches up with us this morning, trust me, it'll do so. There it goes. We have a beautiful start to the day. Clear skies out there. A little bit on the cold side, though. 35 feels like 27. Light south-southwest breeze, and later today could be gusting upwards of 25, so just be aware of that. We had 27 Independence, Chitopa, and Miami, 30 Neosho and Monette this morning. You factor in that light breeze, and it feels like 29 Parsons, 26 Columbus, 26 in Neosho. Feels like 24 in Monette. And despite how cold it is, we are upwards of almost 20 degrees warmer now than we were 24 hours ago. And the warming trend is going to continue. We've got plentiful sunshine today, 53 for the afternoon high. And as we go into tonight, we will remain clear, dropping back down to a low of 34 degrees. If you are flying for the holiday at any point this week, we'll have this map available. And the good news is we're not seeing any significant weather-related delays at any of the major airports across the country. country. So that's definitely a good thing. But a quick reminder, this map is only showing weather-related delays for the airports. This is not flight specific, so you'll still want to check on your flight, as holiday travel has been relatively intense this year. Not quite to pre-pandemic levels, but definitely up. 55 tomorrow, mostly clear skies. Clouds begin building in Wednesday, mostly cloudy skies. We only get down to 51 Wednesday night. We hover in the lower 50s to upper 40s both Thanksgiving and Black Friday, with rain chances on both days. So that's something that you'll want to keep an eye on. You'll just want to be aware of if you're doing any traveling, that it'll be rainy and it could be a little slick on the roadway. So do be careful. Want to make sure you get to wherever you're going safely. And then if you're heading back home for the weekend or doing any traveling this weekend, it starts to look a lot better. Skies start to clear out. We get back into the mid-50s, and our temperatures are just finally back to where they're supposed to be for this time of year. That's it for the forecast. Now we're going to send it over to Tanya Bach for Consumer Watch.
FTX says it owes more than $3 billion to its creditors, and that's according to a bankruptcy filing in Delaware on Saturday. Creditors of the Bahama-based cryptocurrency exchange are owed at least $100 million each. While the company names were redacted in the court documents, they're believed to include major firms like BlackRock and Sequoia Capital. The collapse of the cryptocurrency exchange has also left an estimated 1 million individual investors facing substantial losses. FTX is scheduled to present more information Tuesday before a U.S. bankruptcy judge. Meanwhile, the Royal Bahamas Police Force is investigating possible criminal misconduct in the company's collapse. Well, two of America's largest railroad unions are set to reveal whether they are closer to a strike on Monday. The unions representing engineers and conductors will announce whether or not their members voted to accept a deal brokered by the White House. The sticking point is more about working conditions than wage increases for the 60,000 railroad workers who are members of the two unions. One estimate warns the U.S. economy would lose $2 billion each day railroad workers are on strike. If the tentative agreements are not ratified by union members, they will go back to the bargaining table for a revised deal with a December deadline. Congress could prevent or end a strike by extending a cooling-off period during which the unions cannot strike, or by imposing a contract on union members. Well, embracing the single life may be a bummer for romance, but it has a big advantage for your wallet, as dating costs more than ever. The Match Singles in America report out this week says daters are spending about 40% more trying to woo a mate compared to a decade ago. That breaks down to about $130 every month. No surprise here, inflation is the main culprit. And the added cost isn't just about swapping dinner and a movie to lunch and a matinee. It's changed the criteria of those looking for partners. Sharing similar spending habits, being frugal, and financial stability are all becoming top-tier needs, not just good looks. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Well, you never know how a family pet will react to a newborn.
Jeannie Moose has the story of how a baby made a jealous cat sick, literally.
Ooh.
A beloved pet cat, a precious newborn. Their meeting was supposed to be a sentimental bonding moment to be savored until,
When did you realize that the cat was going to puke?
The second she started doing that thing with her tongue and kind of swallowed.
Caden and Katie Kazir of Salt Lake City brought their 2-day-old daughter home and introduced her to their almost 3-year-old cat. Fifi sniffed the baby and backed off, and then took off for the other room. Seconds later, Fifi was heaving.
Really? Are you serious?
Serious? Folks found it hilarious when the couple posted the video on TikTok. Cats often gag when they don't like a smell, but such immediate feline hostility?
You're worried it was jealousy.
I think it's probably jealousy because the baby definitely didn't smell bad. She'd had a bath a few hours before.
Jealous because Fifi used to be their newborn, and now she's barging into the interview trying to reclaim the limelight from this little upstart.
She just wants to be front and center all the time.
Caden holds the cat in his arms like his wife holds their daughter. Since that first fateful encounter, Fifi has steered clear of the baby.
Can you try to put them together?
We insisted on a reunion.
She's smelling pretty hard.
But at least this time, Fifi didn't throw up, even if she did get up and leave. One commenter channeled Fifi's thoughts. "I don't want it, makes me sick, return it now." There's only room for one princess in this buggy. Jeannie Mose, CNN.
Really?
New York.
I love how he narrates, like he's talking to the cat.
Oh,
yeah.
that was
well,
great.
at least the cat didn't puke on the baby.
Yeah, no, that the cat did have the good sense to, run off to the other room and not throw up on the baby, because that could have been worse.
So dramatic.
Oh my gosh, cats, I tell you what, that's what I grew up with, and they can be giant buttholes, and they can be so dramatic, but they can also be, so kind and so loving.
Aww.
It depends on what mood they're in. So
That baby, that
was
kitty
adorable.
are going to grow up to be
absolutely
best friends. Yes.
Absolutely they are. So, and hey, you might be my best friend this week after I made several enemies over the last couple of weeks, because it's going to be a little bit warmer finally. We do have a cold start to the day. You got to understand the time of year that we're in. I can't control that, but it's going to get better. 35 degrees in Joplin right now. It feels like 27 with the light south-southwest breeze. And that breeze could gust to 25 later today. So just be aware if you're doing any traveling. We got 32 Neoto Station, Newt, 29 Parsons, 27 Chatopa in Miami, and 30 in Neosho with the wind chill. Feels like 26 in Neosho, 27 in Miami. Feels like 29 in Parsons. And even though it's cold this morning, we're upwards of about 20 degrees warmer now than what we were 24 hours ago. Taking a look at what we're going to expect today. Plentiful sunshine. This was the easiest forecast graphic to build in a long time, because the clear day and clear night icon, as they're called, are side by side. And it was just click, 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 and it was done. It was easy. 53 for the high. As we head into tonight, this is what I'm talking about. Clear night, just click, 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 done. Easy. 34 for the overnight lows. So it's going to be, again, another cold night, but that low is actually much more seasonable to where we're supposed to be. 55 tomorrow, 58 Wednesday. Clouds increase, 51 Wednesday night. Then we're going to hover in the lower 50s and upper 40s on Thanksgiving and Black Friday with some rain shower chances. So whatever you're doing Thursday and Friday, just be aware. Could be some rain, could be some slick spots. And if you're doing any traveling this weekend to get back home, or whatever the case may be, it looks a lot better. We see the sunshine return. We get back into the mid-50s. So temperatures finally get to be a lot more average. So I hope you all are still my friend after what we went through the last couple of weeks together. But believe me, we went through it together. And here we are now. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The FBI and authorities in Colorado Springs, Colorado, are investigating after Saturday night's deadly mass shooting at a club where members of the LGBTQ community gather. At least 5 people were killed and more than 24 were injured, several critically. Police say the suspect, 22-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich, was ultimately stopped by 2 club customers and arrested by police within minutes of the rampage. Western New York State is digging out after a massive snowfall covered the region over the weekend. Hundreds of bulldozers and heavy-duty equipment were brought in to clear streets after several days of snow. The town of Orchard Park, home of the Buffalo Bills, saw 77 inches. Wow. The team was forced to play its Sunday game in Detroit. And President Biden celebrated a milestone that no other American president has reached while in office. He turned 80. Facing questions about his age, the president says he'll make a final decision on running for re-election early next year. First Lady tweeted this photo, writing that it was a perfect birthday celebration filled with so much love and Joe's favorite coconut cake.
Had a pretty decent day for us today. More than enough sunshine for everybody, 53 degrees. And as we head into tonight, we will remain clear, dropping back down to 34. So I know that's cold, but it is seasonable for this time of year. Warm up continues, 55 tomorrow, 58 on Wednesday with clouds building in. Could see some rain showers on Thanksgiving and Black Friday. And so if you're traveling either of those days, do be aware that there could be some rain and some slick spots. And then if you're doing any traveling this weekend, it gets better. The sun returns, and we're 55 Saturday, 56 on Sunday.
All right. Well, Amazon's Kindle is now 15 years old.
That's kind of crazy.
Company launched the e-reader device November 19th, 2007.
When it was introduced, the Kindle pushed the publishing industry to further embrace digital books and also kickstarted the Amazon's hardware efforts.
Kindle continues to see demand as a reading device for a handful of reasons, including its simple design, size and weight, long battery life, and lower cost content.
Now, over the years, the Kindle has offered larger screens and touch screens, the ability to adjust font size and spacing, and better processors.
Tech insiders say Amazon will likely keep selling the device for a long time.
It's just kind of hard to believe. I mean, I do remember, you know, the first kind of Kindles coming out. Their specific purpose was for digital books.
My oldest son, he loves reading books online like this, but man, I just can't get away from the feel of that actual real book in your hands.
Folding the corner of the page to mark where you're at.
I use a bookmark.
So, or sticking the bookmark in there. You can't do either of those things with the Kindle, but still pretty fascinating. Hard to believe it's been 15 years.
I know, right?
Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're going to be back with more good news and weather today at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.
Ready, Dad?